game changer, you know? So,
Lovely. Good
all
news.
right, let's get this party started, man. How
Good
you guys
news.
doing? It's been a very interesting weekend.
It has. Okay. So three interesting trade alerts last week, Maurizio. When I
Yes.
got to them, I took the near trade, and
Yeah.
the other two had just started running away a bit, right?
Yeah.
So I had to think about my risk positioning, and I had to think about everything that you've been talking about because there's three trades, you know. So what I
Yeah, no.
decided to do was because I felt a bit like, or I read from what you were saying, I thought,
Mm,
this is one of these. So I took my 5% and I split that 5% between the three trades rather than do
hmm
5%, 5%, 5%. So it was a three smaller trades effectively. And two of them, I can't remember the exact figures. I do have it wrote down. They'd already run, and I thought to myself, am I being a dick for a tick here because they've already
Yeah.
left the station, or is this now a different trade? I think it was about 3% that it had moved since you'd called it. So I put limit orders in at your original
Yeah.
position. So
Yeah.
the result, right, which is purely an outcome of the decisions that were made. So it's the decision quality that we're trying to investigate. And really, that's just kind of a loose handover to you. Those were the
hmm
decisions that I made. I'm okay with them. I got a night's sleep. I didn't make any money out of these three on this
hmm
occasion because my limit order didn't get filled. But I feel that I made the right decisions under the market conditions. And okay, I missed this one. When's the next one coming?
I think that's the right approach because I'm the same way. But let me tell you what happened over the weekend. That I'm all, like in
Hmm.
my mind. You know what I mean? Like you have to live with those decisions. You know what I mean? And as long you are being like true to yourself and say, all right, yeah, that's it. That's my decision. That's it, right? And you don't get the FOMO. Sometimes I do get the
Hmm.
FOMO. I know this is part of fucking trading, man. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, and I'm a FOMO kind of guy, right?
Not
So
immune to it.
I have to control myself several times because FOMO makes you not make any good decisions. I don't know if you guys, how you guys doing, by the way? How you guys doing? I haven't said hi to them. So that's basically, yeah, we're gonna go through the framework. I'm trying to use frameworks for everything, so you don't
Hmm.
think. So when you know what I mean, if you use a framework for everything that you do, which that's kind of where I am, at who I am,
Hmm.
you don't become emotional, even though you do become emotional. But at least if you actually don't do the framework, you're fucking it up in a way. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that's the way that I think. Sometimes it helps you, sometimes it bites you in the back. Like for me this weekend, that I'm gonna tell you what
Hmm.
happened over the weekend that I say, fuck, all right. So, um, Marlon, if a decision is made for the right reason, then there's really no choice but to live with those results. Yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? The trick becomes is, I should have done this, should have done that, should have done this, should have done that. You could learn from those, you know. So why did you do that? It was a right decision, wrong decision. I think that's the best. That's the best outcome. How can you improve in the future, right? And the only way to do that is by recording and stuff, like having a log. Right now, you have AI that you can simply, be and create an amazing trade log that you can say, this. So write down there what were the mistakes, why you didn't take it, or why, and then you review those. You know what I mean? And then
Hmm.
that's actually something that is really helpful to do. Like why? So when it comes again, then you have that reference. You know what I mean? You have the reference saying, I did the mistake again. Maybe it will happen again, but then you do the same mistake 3 or 4 times, then you know that there's something that needs to be fixed. That's kind of, and AI is pretty good with that, man. Like, that's what I do, I
Hmm.
just lock the trades.
Maurizio
I,
just
yeah,
punches in, "Hey AI, find me a coin," and that's the
yeah.
secret to it. Now, the thing is, right, if you look at your process, right, and I've been slowing your process down more and more over the weeks, your process, and you take everybody in the crowd through your process because you're always asking everybody, how do you feel about this? What's your thoughts on this? How do you question this? And then you look for the positive and the negative. And then you think about what would have to happen to make this change. So you go through all these different possibilities to kind of give yourself a picture. And then each step of the way, it's not quite a micro decision, but it's something that takes away from having to have this great big fucking decision at the end, where you just like, I'm totally lost. I don't know whether left or right. Whereas this kind of probabilistic way that you talk through it, it's like, okay, if we get here and we turn left, what generally? And if we turn right, generally, okay, then. And what about if we look behind us? That's when we invert the chart, if you know what I mean. Okay, we got generally a good kind of feel for this area then, you know what I mean? And then you do that on the other instruments, and then it's unscientific, but it's like, well, generally speaking, the feeling in my belly from the evidence that we've looked at, it looks far more X than it does Y. Now that was summed up quite quickly, but that's a pattern that takes years to get right. And then there's still well, I suppose intuition that could be sort of melded with like market experience, just general wisdom gained, if you know what I mean, that gives that final touch of the discretionary. But things like that CVD to show under the hood, to show the actual order flowing, if you know what I mean, that's like a fucking second sight or something. So anyway, I'll stop being a fanboy, disappear into the background. You can get some work done. This is a great bit. This is like having somebody else's kids. Here's my ideas. Now I'm gonna go.
Uh, let's go through. So, how do you guys feel anyway about crypto? Obviously, things shift is starting to look like it's shifting, right? So how do you guys feel? Obviously, we had good trades. Took some profits too early, but yeah, if you watch my video on Friday, you saw why, right? Anything could have happened in a way. But yeah, Jason, that's interesting. So this is what we is that bump will continue. We retrace all this sort of stuff, and this is crypto, no? You get all these huge bumps in a few uh, markets, and we think that everything from now on is gonna look really amazing. So we're gonna uncover that. But yeah, really good trades. Let me just this is our trade so far. So I'm not sharing my screen. So this is where we at. Obviously took some profits too early, which makes me um but profit is profit, right? So we took some stuff of virtual on Tao, Ondo, Ina. So yeah, market looks good in a way. So let's go. Where's my hold on one second. Where's my old screen? All right. Yeah.
Todd thinks BTC's pumping. It's gonna crash, Todd. You need to get yourself short and quick.
All right. So before I start mumbling my thoughts, what do you guys reckon? Uh, where is Bitcoin going? Do you think this is the final? Like, is this going to have continuation? Would you buy everything right now? What would you do? Like, where are you now in terms of what do you see? What do you feel? Marlon, yeah, at some point, help wait, definitely. I just love it too much. That's the thing. Mm, danger, okay. Jim, why danger? Okay, so yeah, Marlon, I'm gonna talk about that maybe. It's one of those things. Miles says another pullback of 30%. Jim, don't know what happens. I can see what's going to happen in the next few months, but I'm very bullish on being a long term. Yeah, me too. I've always been being bullish on Bitcoin always. That's why one of my best strategies, to be honest, is keep buying Bitcoin every single week. That's it. You know what I mean? Like I don't care what price is and just keep buying. That's has been paying out really well. Craig, I'm hoping pullback. Okay. All right. Let's start with this. Yeah, Jason, you can automate that. There's a lot of tools that you can automate. Honestly, at some point, I think it was one last year, if I remember correctly. That portfolio, the one that I was just buying, it's called DCA, right? Dollar cost averaging in a way, right? And I don't stop doing it, and that performed much better than my trading. And I didn't do anything. I only put in Australia, by the way. If you guys are in Australia, the way that I do it, you get an account with Swifty FX, I think it's called, and they allow you to set up like automated bank payments to that, and then you basically buy automatically. So whatever's set it up is yeah, you can do it without as well. But then I only do it with Bitcoin, and that portfolio is just amazing. That's long term. I don't plan selling it. Uh, but you could do here's a tip. What you can do if you wanna, let's say, if you wanna start doing DCA, right? Um, then you set that up. You don't sell it, and then if you ever want to use that cash at some point, you basically take a loan out of it. So there's no tax. It's no disposable tax, right? Uh, so that's the best strategy. That's the best strategy that I'm using for my kid. I started DCAing for two already. So $50, $100 a month. Sorry, a week. And by the time that she's 18, I think she's gonna be loaded, man. As simple as that, right? It doesn't get yeah, and you don't pay any tax. I'm not a tax accountant. I have no idea, but I have a few ideas how to maximize that. So that's one way. If you are keen, like you can do it in the US, you can do it pretty much in every single country. The crypto tax rules of pretty much the same thing. The downside with trading is that you do pay tax for every single transaction that you actually do, right? It's a disposable thing. So that's down, that's bad. Anyway, coming back to crypto. All right. There you go, Jeff. Yeah, there's a lot of different strategies around it. Yeah. If you haven't done it, I think that's the easiest way to long-term build wealth on with Bitcoin. Anyway, let me know if you want to know more about it. Perhaps we could do one of these days, and that's the easiest fucking strategy that I ever done in my life. Anyway, let's jump in. Am I sharing my screen? No? You're talking about it. All right. Okay, so where we at? Where are we at? Okay, so let's start with from the weekly. Okay, we've been talking about it since last week. So last week we were here, and remember that I did this little framing thingy here. From the weekly perspective, I'm still cautious. That's why I took profits, move stop losses. Because first of all, we're against trend. We're filling gaps. So that's why you get those massive moves on altcoins, right? You get liquidity, you get a lot of people that they were shorting, and then those massive impulses, especially on low liquidity markets. By the way, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, man.
Yeah, sorry, for some reason I saw my video not working. All right. So if I'm starting looking from the macro perspective, right, the big trend, that's where I'm at. That's why I'm cautious, right? That's why I'm not fully, this is going to the moon. It could, right? But we do have a massive amount of resistance at this level, especially big guys right here, right? This is what the big guys, institutions like to play. Whenever we are in this, the 200 MA is pretty. It's a really interesting macro from institutional perspective, right? And that's the one that I follow. Ian gave us the 200-week EMA, which, funny enough, it bounced right off it, man. You can actually see now from week to week how it bounced from it, right? But now we are that's the range that we're playing against these two sort of macro trends, right? One is bearish, the other one is bullish, right? The biggest one is bullish, right? Which is the weekly, like the yearly or whatever. But we still have this amount of resistance to break. Okay. Now, if you think about it from the big picture perspective, right? When we reclaim those trends is when markets are going to go fucking ballistic. Okay, that's when I'm going to be sizing more than I should have. That's when we tend to make money, but that's when we tend to lose a lot. So be careful because market becomes a little bit more volatile. However, this is a 200 EMA. Like in a bullish scenario, it will look something like this, right? And this is on a weekly, all right? This is weekly. So something like this, right? Bam, 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 and then fucking goes to the moon. Who knows? But then that's the ideal scenario, right? From a bullish scenario, but we need to break that resistance. There's a lot of sellers here, okay? A lot of them, right? Especially from the macro perspective. Now, the other is the one that we painted last week, right? Which is basically this, right? We bounced out of here. It's a really great place to short, to be honest, if you're a short seller, right? So from the weekly, we are getting to that place. We're not there yet. This could actually run all the way up to 84, 86, even, yeah, 86, give or take, like below this area right here, and turn back down. That can definitely do that. So that's why I'm cautious. Okay. Even though market looks amazing, a lot of alts look fucking great. That was the main reason I took some profits. Um, and then move stop losses, and so it happened. Whatever happened happens. What's the downside of that? Obviously, I missed profits. Was the good, like the good stuff that I had peace of mind over the weekend, right? It was getting, even though you call it, I don't know, call it peace of mind, but I still say, oh shit, I should have. I always that's in the back of my head. That's the nature. I don't know if you guys live through that, but I do, right? So that's kind of where I'm at, right? This is so now if we bring this from the daily perspective, right? Let's bring it down from the daily. So we are right there, okay? This candle right here was Friday. Sorry, Wednesday. Thursday, Friday. So that was Friday. But Friday closed pretty positive, which, this is over the weekend price action, right? Saturday and Sunday. Now we are back on what we were on Wednesday, okay? And a lot of our salts actually went up. So I'm still being cautious around this level because there could be sellers loading up right here, right? And that becomes now, and these levels become the fight. Who is going to win, right? That simple as that. Is bulls are going to win? Are bears going to win? You know what I mean? Who is actually driving this fucking market? And we don't know, to be honest. We just know that I'm going to be cautious. That's it. That's basically what I'm saying with this. And why did I say that on Friday? So there's let me just, I don't know if you guys watched the video on Friday. Give me 1 second. Why my screens are not being together? 1 second. Okay, that's it. All right, Friday. Okay. Um, like Friday. Probably I did the video around midday, something like that. So I was seeing this. Obviously, this development, I missed it completely. But what I did say it was that this line blue who watched the video on Friday, by the way? Ah, Kim. Todd. All right. So, glad you watched it, Todd, because I did mention your name on Friday. This is one of the greatest scouting strategies that I've seen. Uh, but obviously you need to be on top of it. So, why did I draw this level here? So, this level doesn't come from support resistance or anything like that. This level comes from matching where the CVD volume comes through, because that's basically what the volume is actually created, right? So if you think about it here, right, that's why you see a massive influx here, a little bit of selling. So this structure right here, you could think about that. That's a massive, somebody is actually defending that level. That is a massive amount of influx of capital coming through. And that level becomes very important, right? So what I'm trying to say is when the price set like hits that level again, right? Then you do want to see what happens even at CBD volume and with liquidations and stuff like that. Because if these levels become defended, like someone defend that level again, which it happened again. Obviously, I missed the whole thing, obviously, because yeah, this weekend was Mother's Day, so I didn't want to have anything in my mind. Uh, then you see this influx coming back through at the same level that we were thinking about right here. That wouldn't be a massive long, man, from the scalping perspective. Okay, I'm just talking scalping perspective, and what I mean is scalping could be an hour, 3 hours, or something like that. You can actually see those setups all the time in especially on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, but we didn't know that. I didn't know that. Market looked pretty horrible. CBD was actually selling Ethereum. Sorry, Ethereum was, look at this thing, Ethereum, man, what it was doing. Ethereum was fucking selling like a beast, man. You know, in terms of CBD, there was no one actually respecting that. So, based on that, that was the main decision about taking profits on the tokens that we have some. And you know, by going back to what Ian mentioned about risk, okay? And I did mention that when we went into trades, when the market changes, it changes as a whole. So everything changes at once, like everything goes nuts. Same thing when the market drops. So the market is very, very, especially crypto, is so freaking correlated. So you have to be careful in terms of if you go in on everything, you open up your risk. As long as you are aware of that, then you have to control your risk at some point, right? And so, question so far, that's basically the whole spiel on Bitcoin and where I'm at. Let me tell you where I'm at in Bitcoin at the moment. Okay, so very cautious. Obviously, this is 82 level. Maybe that's going to be the last level to drive it. But what I'm looking at here now, this level becomes much more prominent now because you can definitely see, right, that that level is a very interesting level. Now, at which level? Now, let me ask you this: at which level CBD buyers are taking profits? So you can actually start seeing here, that's kind of when the CVD starts breaking structure. So right here, that's an interesting level to watch, right? Which we just went through it right now, right? That's for the, and I'm gonna make a different color. Okay, and this is an interesting uh, area that I like to call divergence. So divergence is forming. This is the highest high that it has been in the last sort of week, right? And you can actually see that at that point, right? CBD starts dropping, right? And that's basically what I'm watching because if if we start seeing drops, then I'm going to be taking more profits. That's simple as that, right? Do I want to short? Fuck, man, I don't know. Market looks like market is being filled by shorts at the moment. How do I know that? Because you basically see all this liquidation, market start pumping, then you get a little bit less liquidations towards the downside, and now you start seeing that a lot of people shorted. Why? Because you start seeing liquidations to the short side right here, right? So that's why I'm hesitant to short, to be honest, unless you do really like very small time frame scalping or things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I wanna remain cautious, but now the fact that this CVD is coming through, the only thing that I do not like is that this CVD coming through is happen at the end of the day, New York time, sort of give or take, and this is weekend liquidity, right? So that's kind of the only thing that I'm kind of cautious about, right? So do I want to go long here? No. Do I want to go short here? No. Kind of things that I'm looking, ideally, right? Ideally, I want to see this going down, right? And bouncing at this level here again. That would be a fucking amazing setup. Are we gonna get it? Who knows? But that could be an interesting setup, right? Pull back to the 79. A lot of people are going to go short, and then CBD comes back in, and then back. This is hypothesis. I'm not saying that this is gonna happen, but this is kind of things that if I see it, I'm going to go with higher risk. You know what I mean? With higher size. Why? Because this is my hypothesis. If I don't see it, I don't see it, right? Like, because this could now. Let's go to the bear case, okay? Let's flip this. Let's flip this. Fuck. Fuck. All right. What do you guys see here? Are you like, if you see this chart, do you think it's a bullish or a bearish chart?
Is this a trick question?
Yeah, it's a trick question, man. See how like every time that I invert the screen, like fuck, man, like my brain goes, what the fuck is this? This is a bullish chart, like in my mind, right? Exactly, exactly, Jason. That's what I'm saying, and it looks fucking bullish from the bearish case. I hope it makes sense, right? Because we inverted, so if this going to bounce, then that's why I'm still cautious. Is this going to happen? Is this going to bounce at this level? Who knows? But that's why I'm still cautious. Okay, this is the main reason why we took some profits. And reduce risk. That's basically and there's going to be times that my risks are going to stay open for a while, right? In but until then, I'm still sort of a little bit more cautious from that perspective. Okay, so yeah, uh, this is kind of a very interesting area where we are right now. Because I can definitely see this one moving all the way down to 86. Let's bring it back. Uh, I can definitely see moving all the way up to 84, 86, to be honest. Should we capitalize on that? Definitely. If we see that, alts are going to go nuts, man. But taking profit is my idea. You know what I mean? Probably I'm going to miss if it keeps moving up, right? Maybe yes, but at least you're sort of risk averse, right? In a way. So that's kind of the game. That's kind of the plan at the moment. So don't know if you guys agree or not. But obviously that's kind of why I'm becoming a little bit bearish. Not bearish, cautious, right? If and it hasn't been able to break, right? So you have, I think Marlon was asking what's the difference or why Ethereum hasn't been as great as Bitcoin? I have no idea, mate. I think a lot of institutions are just loading on Bitcoin. Ethereum is not being, which it could surprise a lot of people. That's another thing, right? But the fact that we haven't seen this breakout and the fact that we go to the CBD on Ethereum, however, the CBD on Ethereum is not as reliable, but it gives me an indication. I'm this is a massive amount of sellers, man. This is what spooked me off on Friday. A massive amount of sellers. Obviously, we just found new buyers at this level, just like what an hour ago. However, this is weakened liquidity. Just be careful with the weakened liquidity. I'm always sort of iffy with the weakened liquidity. Sometimes weakened liquidity helps, to push that price up, but in terms of statistics, it hasn't happened many times. Weekend liquidity is only you and me trading. There's no institutional trading. So that's basically why I'm cautious. Let's go back and now look at IBIT. So IBIT looks pretty good. However, we do have another gap right here. So as you can see, we do have a gap. Maybe we fill that gap. Like last week, we filled that gap, right? And if we fill this gap this week, probably that's going to be a really good term to enter. Again, adding to our positions or just cut them up. Depends on what we see on the CBD volume, right? Uh, I think S&P 500 is just dripping, man. Like it's not stopping, right? So this is prominent. The only thing that I don't like is think about it from the perspective S&P 500 is an all-time highs and crypto hasn't actually is lagging. So is that lagging at some point is going to explode, or is that lagging because people are not going into risk assets? You know what I mean? People still very apprehensive of kind of the environment. So what is that? What's the answer of that question? I have no fucking clue. But those are the two things that I'm sort of in the back of my mind still, uh, you know, because in conditions like this, I would have expect Bitcoin doing all-time highs as well. Would you? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, this is a lot of this S&P 500 stuff is actually driven by AI, and tech companies and all that sort of stuff, which are the majors here. A lot of that stuff happened last week, so I'm still sort of the Russell, still all-time highs as well, which is this is another measure for risk in a way. So yeah, it looks good, very apprehensive, or maybe I'm going to get people on the sidelines, which usually happens. So when this is something another aspect of trading. Let's talk about the S&P 500. We are all-time high, so it's very simple to short this thing, and market doesn't do that, right? And what happens is, let's say this thing keeps going up, right? And then people say, "Oh fuck, man, I didn't buy anything," so they start getting the FOMO, all that sort of stuff, and then this pumps up, and then at some point, it's going to bring down. But at some point, it's going to be sustained. That's how high phone. Look at this thing. For instance, I'm just going to. This is the all-time highs. This is, I think, this April 2025. Again, up. You get this price of consolidation. So that's what we. But this price of consolidation doesn't need to go back to all-time highs to the breakout side of thing. And the breakout happened here, right? Kind of. Yeah, give it a take. So this is an interesting aspect of how the market is reacting, even though we do have geopolitical shit going on. So that's the only thing that I'm cautious. Obviously, I'm bullish, very bullish, but cautiously bullish. So can that be a mistake? Maybe, but um, that's the decision, right? Based on everything that I've been talking about. So based on that, right? Let's go through our trades. All right, Pengu still performing. I haven't added more. Still doing pretty good. My plan probably with Pengu is add more if I see something like this. right? So looking good. INA, where we at with INA? INA, now we took some profits around here. So obviously it wasn't many profits. I reduced the position, but my stop loss is at break even. Okay. So from here onwards, with all the trades that we took, there's no risk whatsoever. Anything that it could happen is free money. That's the good thing, right? So if this has continuation to the upside, great. That's basically what I'm aiming towards to, that gap fill towards the 200 EMA on all these fucking coins. And then take more profit, and then we wait for a retracement, and then we add more. That's basically the plan. All right. Why? Because I'm still cautious, right? And this thing is also mean revert. This also mean reversion, right? So from the risk perspective, that's where I'm at. Tau is fucking looking great. I haven't added more. I was going to add more here that I didn't do. Virtual took some profits probably around here, yeah, and it almost stops me out because I'm now on break even, and this is now the thing that you need to be aware of. Some of these ones are going to be stopped out, right? Why? Because you get that volatility, and so be it. You can always get back in. It's hard to get back in, especially if you get stopped out anyway. Mindset is a little bit difficult, but there's no risk. You know what I mean? There's no risk in terms of, okay, if I get stopped out, no. In my mind, you can always have other trades to play. Ondo is the good one. Ondo is doing fantastic. So Ondo he had a really great breakout. This is a clean sort of 200 EMA break, right? Now this is the one that I'm adding. Actually looking to add more. Okay, so our stop loss is actually on break even. Now I'm going to be adding more, but towards the end of the week. I don't want to, now that I'm profit, right? I want to wait a little bit to see what happens with Bitcoin, especially today, right? Monday is always a very volatile day. Nia, I closed this one. We closed this one with a little bit I think, sorry, with a little bit of a loss on Nia. I would close it around here. It's a little bit of a loss. And this one worked out anyway. I'm still thinking of coming back to this one. Just move this one here. Okay. Nia looks good. But that was the whole decision. Reducing risk because I'm still a little bit funny on it. So if market has continuation, my first thing is going to be onto these ones, onto the best performers, right? Before we're going into new tokens, right? And there's all the ones that I'm watching closely. So looking at Filecoin, that's the trade that I was planning on Filecoin, which is great. Like I didn't take it, right? That was the planned trade. So obviously, it wouldn't be a profit. Pump Fund, same deal, wouldn't be a profit. But this is the thing: if market retraces, everything would retrace and everything would be stopped out. So at least like that, you sort of start managing your profits and stuff like that. I'm still looking at Neil. Neilian actually fucking did 100% and then retrace back, right? But this, I wanted to talk about this one today because I'm watching it really, really close. For people that doesn't know, check it out. Check the Neilian. It's called Neilian. It's a project. So I see Neilian. I would probably wouldn't do this on leverage, right? Because this is very liquid at this stage. You could do a lot of different movements, but I could definitely see this project coming back up towards this level here. So probably that's a 200% at least. Okay, and why? Neilian is a AI project. Okay, it's an AI project based on what is the SEC? Privacy. Okay, so Neilian has a framework that supports AI privacy. Now we know narratives that are picking up, right? Narratives that are picking up are AI, of course, privacy, of course, agentic workflows, all that sort of stuff is the narratives that it could actually do great if we start picking up dramatically, right? So Nelion is one of them. It sort of fits all those categories, and the project itself they keep building. So it's even though the project is being price wise horrible, I could definitely see this one filling up this gap right here, at least towards this AMA right here. So that could be that's an interesting play that I'm looking at very closely. I might add more on spot. I wouldn't trade this. Or maybe, yeah, probably if you watch the charts and when you start seeing when the volume comes in, maybe you can join the party and actually do that with leverage. But from the long term perspective, that's kind of one that I'm looking for today. I'm still looking at Nauris. So Nauris is still in the back of my head. Uh Very volatile. That's why I didn't want to do this on but I'm still this could be a really interesting pullback to buy right now, right? So now it's a very interesting project. Jason, yeah, I know. This oh you're talking about the YF10 trade? Yeah, I know, man. I know, man. It gets you. It gets you. Trading different systems is going to fucking get you. It gets me. So I know, I know, I know, man. It is. It's, the can't actually sugarcoat it. It is what it is. But this is a different thing. This is a long-term kind of buy, and trust me, if you trade the YF10, this one is gonna come up several times if we start getting those all-time highs, right? Because that's what you do in a YF10, right? So yeah, try to fucking just, you know, I don't know, isolate. First of all, you should not be trading the YF10 in the same account that you trade the 100x club or scalp or whatever. You should not be doing that. You should either have sub accounts and treat each one differently. Otherwise, it's gonna be fucked up. Honestly, you're gonna fucked up. It's gonna be all fucked up, man. So 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 yeah, all good, man. At least you have some differentiation, right? In terms of why you went long on this. Sometimes it's gonna be really hard, if this one is performing and then you have to short it on the YF10. But it is what it is, man. That's what it is. Okay. So yeah, that's in the back. Nia is still I'm still watching it, right? Still watching it. Let's see how the market performs. Now I'm seeing Bonk, right? Trying to fill those gaps. Filecoin still there. Pump still there. So I see a lot of these ones maybe filling that gap towards the 200 EMA. What happens there? That's going to be the trick, right? Hype is holding pretty well. So I'm gonna leave it in the top of my list right here. So hype just keeps performing. I'm gonna add more. Thinking adding more in spot. We do have a lot on hype. And of course ton. Man, this is the trade last week that did my head in. I did talk about it last week a lot, and I missed it completely. Completely missed this thing. So do I get? I want to get back in. Yes, I do. This has been really strong. Uh, I do expect on to move. This is the first one that's actually towards breaking. Even though price moved a lot, this is another metric very important that I'm seeing, and is if you guys see from the daily perspective, the October 10, October 11 candle. This is when everything shit itself, okay? So what you want to see, or what I want to see, is which tokens actually are able to break that level first. And those ones are the ones that actually should be focusing on in terms of strength, right? So obviously we have this ton. Very important levels, man. Very fucking important levels, okay? And you can actually see hype, for instance. So hype is right there, almost. Ondo. So that this is when you play reversion, still we have this level right here, the October 11. I think Ondo will be able to get there if has continuation strength. That's why I want to add more. Oh shit, another one. Sui. Fucking Sui. I missed it over the weekend. Oh man. Anyway, it is what it is. But you know what? On all being said, I say I missed it over the weekend, but I wouldn't add more risk. I'm still full, in terms of risk, set up a percentage and then just go with that. But I'm looking at Sui very closely, very, very closely. I
Nice.
think that's it, guys. I think that's it. That's it for me. It's going to be an interesting either a retracement or continuation at this stage. At
Hmm.
least the good thing we took some really good trades.
Is Ave on your list? I
Yeah, it
must admit,
was. I mean, still. Here's the thing with Abbey. Okay, where
about
is it? Where is it?
98 at the moment, I think, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
pretty good price.
yeah, it is. It's now breaking towards the 100. So I think Abbey could. I had it here. This is
Hmm.
a trade that I was planning to take the other day, right? Abbey is good, man. The reason why Abbey was so shit right now because it went through an attack, a
Uh,
cybersecurity attack, and
oh, was
that's
it?
why it got hammered. But Ave is still alive. I really like this one. Maybe it will take time to recover. That's the only thing. But from the spot perspective, I like Ave, man. It's still I see Ave at least trading up to. I see a lot of these coins trading at least
Hmm.
towards that October 11 fiasco liquidation,
Is
whatever
there
you want
not
to call it.
a little risk of the same turd rolled in a different glitter here? Because these charts, they all look so remarkably.
That's exactly the same, man. That's why I say everything is so fucking correlated that
There's too
when
many
market
trades.
moves, there are too many trades, and they all gonna happen at the same time.
Hmm.
So that's what I mean in terms of reducing risk. Now, think about it from the perspective that we have done, with Ina, Tao, Virtual, Ondo. There, we have no risk. We took profit,
Hmm.
yeah, a little bit, but it's no risk. We moved the stop loss, so now you can
Hmm.
actually trade more. You know what I mean? Like if we get up to there, you can add more without risk. You're not risking capital. You already
Hmm.
took profit. So that's the psychology of taking profits.
That's the secret
When
sauce.
I when I when I look at it objectively, I say fuck, this is the right moment. When I look at it emotionally, I say fuck, I took profits too early.
Hmm.
But you
Hmm.
never know when you're gonna when things are going to turn around. At least when you cover your losses, yeah, I was able to
Yeah,
sleep well, man. This
exactly.
weekend was great. To be honest, mentally it was great. I had no risk, right? So
That's perfect, man. And that's
mm,
exactly the time. Yeah, that risk is so interesting. Like as a final poker analogy, the final street is called the river. And it might be that I decide to check. I think there's no more value I can get out of the other person, and we turn the cards over, and I think, oh, maybe I could have got one more bet out of him. But after the event, it's kind of, well, fuck it, like you made your decision. The result as such shouldn't shouldn't matter. It should be that what do they call it? Decision hygiene.
yeah.
That's the fancy pants term for it. Right. It is time for AI to now wreck my head for an hour. So I thank you.
Go far, go. All right,
Thank
guys.
you for
So
this,
we'll keep
Maurizio. Thank you,
we'll
everybody.
keep
That was
you
an awesome
we'll keep you
session.
updated and yeah, let's see how it goes this week. Have a great
Nice.
day, man.
Ta-da. See you later.